You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find some Ice Cube rants and insert them throughout the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, can you do the transitions between each segment of the podcast?
Yeah, I'll just have
Can you
Ice
replace
Cube.
them with Ice Cube bits?
I will.
I know what you're thinking. Angry, black captain. It ain't nothing but a stupid stereotype. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm black. And I work my ass off to be the captain. And sometimes I get angry. So suck a dick.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 64th annual Movie Mania podcast. I am your host, Sherman Trey White of Podcast Media fame, and joining me are the two nominees who are neck and neck for best co-hosts. That would be Trilbee / Mr. TARDIS and Bandit Incorporated. Give it a round of applause, everybody. Round of applause. Someone said.
I'm not coming to the podcast this week. Instead, I've sent a Native American to reject my award. I've told her to just break it in half, Adele style, and Bandit gets one half for the Oscar, and I get the other half. That's some weird, that's some Grammy topical stuff.
That's a real obscure reference there, Trilbee.
Well, one of them is like one of the biggest news stories from the past week, and the other is Oscar trivia from a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, from like 30 plus years. Like, what? Did Adele really split up her Grammy?
Yeah, she did it when she left the stage and gave half of it to Beyonce.
How do you do that? How do you just give half a statue to somebody?
I'm guessing it's made of chocolate, and it's just wrapped in foil, so it's easy to break in half.
Why does everyone think Beyonce has to win all the time?
Because I think she's been nominated like 5 or 6 times and never won, whereas Adele is basically the Daniel Day-Lewis of music, where, she's nominated, I guess she's winning.
Yeah.
Well, Adele's incredibly talented. I mean, I mean, Beyonce's good too. I mean, I'm not here to debate music with people, but I mean, I don't listen to modern music like the rest of my generation does. Everyone will be jamming out to the music with their rap and whatever. I sound so old with their rap and whatever. And meanwhile, I'm over here just like, oh yeah, John Williams. Oh yeah, just jamming out to my John Williams and my Hans Zimmers.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doing good. We were just saying for our listeners, we're all kind of we're going to try and keep it short, which means, based off previous times we've said that, it'll go for like 10 hours, this podcast.
I think
yes, we shall.
I have a feeling that this is going to be the shortest episode of Movie Mania yet. That's just my theory.
Yeah, I'm only going to be around for an hour because starting a new job tomorrow, doing some assistant directing and some running and stuff and that for a new job for the next 3 or 4 months. So I can't really record on Sunday nights for long anymore. So
we all need our napping and our rest for when Logan comes out.
Yes, that's only a few days away.
Oh, I'm so ready. Oh man, I'm so excited.
March 1st in the UK at least.
We'll just go over some of the movie news, and we'll take some listener questions, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff in the homework. Yes. Well, I forgot. Oh, yes, Bandit. Did you ever talk about how you were doing? I don't know if I asked you.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. we're all very tired.
I feel like I'm ready to go, but I'm only around for an hour or two.
Yeah. I've got a cold coming on. I can feel my throat swelling up, but it doesn't matter. Let's get into it.
My people, I do this. I was a part of this giant book festival yesterday, which is essentially like Comic-Con for books. And I don't even read books. I was just helping out to help out. And I was there from like 7 to 7. It was and then I went out and I went to a party because of course I went to a party because I'm a teenager. That's what teenagers do. I got home at 3 last night and then I woke up at 7 because I'm really just not into it today. But that being said, let's get to the movie news.
Hey! Stop fucking with Korean Jesus. He ain't got time for your problems. He busy with Korean shit. You two get to your mama house ASAP. What?
All right, guys. Your nominees for the movie news are... I'm going to keep this joke going. Your nominees for the movie news are, for starters... Oh, right. Matt Reeves is to direct the Batman standalone film after Ben Affleck fled. I mean, after Ben Affleck respectively left the director's seat and is only starring in it, and his script is no longer in it either. I'm pretty sure they're doing a page 1 rewrite, but now we have Matt Reeves directing. Bandit, what do you think?
I don't know. I just think everything hinges on Justice League. And I was thinking about what you said, Trilbee, of last time we talked about this, after Ben Affleck was leaving as director. And, you know, when Ben Affleck's like, yeah, I just can't act and direct at the same time. I just can't, even though I've done it in multiple movies before in the past. I just can't. I just somehow cannot this time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's hedging his bets. But, yeah, great. What I don't really know that much about this director. Is there anyone know anything else he's done? Or?
He did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which I'm sure you're a fan of.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing the new Planet of the Apes coming out.
He also did the original Cloverfield. He did Let Me In, which is the remake of. Which it seems like he started off in horror, which is like always a good way. It's a good way to start if you're doing a Batman film who could be perceived as a horror character depending on how you portray him.
Depending on who's the end of that fist Batman's definitely a horror movie to some people.
Let's not forget in Suicide Squad he used a young girl as a human shield. That's a horrific character.
But if it was directed by Zack Snyder, she would have been just shot in the face. So I mean, you got to take what we can get. Yeah.
The circumstances around the news, though, were really weird, because a few days before it was announced, they were like, oh, Matt Reeves is in talks to direct the Batman. And then, wasn't it Matt Reeves or someone who represented him came out and said, no, it's not, no, he's not directing him. No, it's not happening.
Someone, I think something came out and it was like, oh, negotiations have fallen through. I think that's, I can't confirm that was exactly the wording of what happened, but something along the lines of the negotiations have stopped was what was said.
Yeah, so basically it was like, what were you paying Ben Affleck to direct this gig? It's like, we were paying him this amount. Okay, put 2 zeros on the end of that and a Ferrari, and you got yourself a Batman director.
It sounds like he's trying to do the Daniel Craig negotiating tactic of like, I
slash my wrist and direct the Batman.
Give me more money, you know?
Yeah.
Fair play to him. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is really good. He's worked his way up over the past 10 years. He's paid his dues.
Yeah, it's true.
I will say
those movies have sort of that dark and gritty kind of feel to them, so it should be a good fit for Batman.
I just hope that DC wisens up and understands that they can't fan force stick their directors anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't just have their directors come in and say, okay, we need you to do this. Because they had 4 directors leave The Flash, a couple of directors leave Wonder Woman, and now Ben Affleck left Batman. He's still in Batman, but he's not doing Batman anymore. And yet, oddly enough, it appears the only person they're not restraining is Zack Snyder, which seems completely backwards. And so I just hope that they wisen up and say, okay, we'll leave Matt Reeves alone, and we will do minimal, because studio interference isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes directors want to go crazy with things. I hope they keep it to a minimum and only what's necessary to not make just a complete trash film, but because Matt Reeves is a talented filmmaker.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else have we got this week?
Yes. Our next nominee for movie news of the week goes to Bill Paxton, who unfortunately has passed away this morning at the age of 61. Due to complications during surgery, I believe.
Oh, Game over, man. Yeah. Game over.
Bandit, you were the 3,000th person to make that joke in the last 18 minutes.
Oh, really? I just found out about him dying. So...
Every tweet was
like
hashtag... No, hashtag game over. Hashtag... It's everywhere right now. It's just all over the place. Yeah, no. Man, I feel like you're more into this. Not into this, but I feel like you're more crushed by this than I would be, because you're a big Alien guy.
Yeah.
And
it's so sad, and it seems like he doesn't... I know you said he's in his 60s, but he didn't seem like it. He still seemed like he was a pretty young dude. No, it's just... it's no good.
Bill Paxton, he's the type of guy who... it's the type of death that doesn't really... you don't really appreciate Bill Paxton until he's gone, do you? He's had such a great career over the past 30 years, even though probably more 40 years, even though he's not really been considered an A-list actor, even though he's been in A-list projects. He's the only guy to ever be killed by a Terminator, an Alien, and a Predator, which is
he gets around for sure, because and not in the way you're thinking, in terms of demographic reach, because which doesn't even sound much better, because when I told my familia that familia means family. When I told my family that that he died, my sister said, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh, the guy from Twister." She's like, "The main guy in Twister's dead?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Man," she was upset. So he has his filmography does range from, and he's also really good in Nightcrawler, which I think maybe we'll give him credit for. He's really good in Nightcrawler. Doesn't he die in Nightcrawler? I don't remember. I know
he's
he's
at
good.
least critically injured, I think.
Yeah.
If I
And then
recall.
he just gets his body filmed by Jake Gyllenhaal. God, Nightcrawler's a good movie. He's good in it. So it was rough to see that. It just it was another death of we couldn't have like everyone always says, oh, you know, the next one to go is Morgan Freeman or Will Smith, but like it's never the ones we expect to go next. It's never gonna be someone like Angelina Jolie is just died in a plane crash or something. Knock on wood there, but. You know, it's always
I'd
like,
be okay with that, actually. You know,
Bandit, settle down.
If we could trade her,
if that happens tomorrow,
if we could get Bill Paxton back by giving her up, that'd be fine by me.
Just raised Angelina Jolie's death chances by 50,000%. I want you to know that now. Fate is not on your side right now.
Because Bill Paxton's like he's never gone away. Like it feels like in the 80s, Commando, Terminator, then in the 90s, Predator. Tombstone, he was really good in Tombstone, Apollo 13, Twister, Titanic, and then in the 2000s he plays probably the most miscast person in the Thunderbirds movie. He's in the Spy Kids films, Mighty Joe Young, and then in the 2010s he was in Edge of Tomorrow. He was the sergeant.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, he's so good at Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And
You know who Bill Paxton?
Revere's
You know
got
who
that line,
Bill
"You're an
Paxton
American."
is?
No, sir, I'm from Alabama, or something like that.
Yes. Bill Paxton's like he's the guy. It's like, oh, it's that guy, but you know it's Bill Paxton. You know,
He's got such a distinctive voice as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's also recently in the Training Day TV remake. He plays the Denzel Washington role, I think, because they've remade that as like a 5-episode miniseries for CBS, I think.
Really?
Yeah, and Justin Cornwell plays the rookie cop. I forget who played him in Training Day.
And Bill Paxton is playing Denzel Washington's role.
I think so. Yeah, I think Anton Fuqua is producing that series.
Okay.
Ethan Hawke, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, he's the rookie cop. Yeah, because I know that you love Training Day. I listened to the Denzel Washington podcast because I wasn't on that week.
Oh, why? Thank you, Trilbee. That was a good episode.
Yeah, I listened to the podcast that I'm not in. I hear you bitch about me. I hear it. I hear it.
Crap about you, Trilbee.
Oh, it's okay. I'd talk smack about you when you're not on. Oh wait, you're always on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the
My
only
apologies to listeners. I feel
episode...
like I just sipped my tea in front of my microphone. I want to apologize to the listeners for that. I know that's a gross sad. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, but with Bill Paxton, it sucks as well because apparently Neil Blomkamp's Alien movie that's set after Aliens might possibly include like Hicks and all that. Apparently that's still going on, so we might have even had a chance to see Hudson again because you don't technically see him die in Aliens. You know, he just gets pulled through the floor. He could have got away.
Didn't some of the concept... Oh, no, there was the Alien Colonial Marines game, and he survives in it, but they never explain how he survived it, and it's really frustrating.
Really? I heard they made it that Hicks survived, even though he's supposed to be on the ship with Ripley.
That might be it. I'm not going to claim to have played that terrible game.
It would make more sense if it was Hudson.
Yeah.
Ooh. He jumped on that alien knowledge real quick, Trilbee. Did you see that?
I know.
Like, I'm actually in page 364 of the game's manual. It specifically says
so I feel winded after that sucker punch that Bandit gave me.
You feel that bus he was through you under?
Yeah. It's like you may be a bit under the weather, Bandit, but your wit is as sharp as ever.
You know, you got both of you guys seem to be exceptionally well when your guys are like. Because during Trilbee, when you said you were drunk, that one time where you were drinking
that was
wine,
probably the best I've ever done.
And you guys did the best. Well, that was like one of our best podcasts. And usually, when Bandit's really tired, he gets really sassy. It starts like throwing out all his agendas against these celebrities, and it's real funny.
I've still got half a bottle of wine next door left over from Christmas. I need to drink that during the next podcast.
Just start chugging it while we're talking about Logan. Just be like, "Oh, Wolverine." Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then I'm just gonna spill all the red wine down me and think I'm bleeding, but there's no injury. I have a healing factor.
To the roof.
Then I just start trying to slam through the walls like Juggernaut.
Your fiance walks in like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm for checking out, bitch.
Anyway.
But speaking of death,
okay.
Batman v Superman is dying at the Razzies. Is that our next news story?
Yes, the Razzies.
Thank you.
Basically, a comedic counterpoint to the Oscars. The Razzies were last night. They've got like a comedic video. They actually had a really endearing in memoriam section. Basically, you're saying 2016 was the worst, wasn't it? But I'll just read off some of the winners. Even though lots of films were nominated, this was basically 2 films hogged all of the awards.
I would imagine.
Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice was nominated for 8 and it won 4. It won. What did it win? It won Worst Supporting Actor with Jesse Eisenberg.
Good.
Well deserved.
It won Worst Screen Combo with Ben Affleck and his baddest foe forever, BFF, Henry Cavill. Worst prequel, rip-off, remake, or sequel.
Yeah, a sequel. Yeah.
And Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer also won for Worst Screenplay for Batman v Superman.
Hell yeah. That screenplay should haunt them forever.
It probably will.
And it's like, hell yeah. damn straight.
But yeah, and the other winner of the night was it was the propaganda masquerading as a pseudo-documentary Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party, which won Worst Picture. Dinesh D'Souza won Worst Director. Dinesh D'Souza won Worst Actor, as he played himself. Rebecca Turner, who played Hillary Clinton in Hillary's America, The Secret History of the Democratic Party, also won. And the other winner or loser of the night was Kristen Wiig for Worst Supporting Actor in Zoolander 2. The Razzie Redeemer Award went to Mel Gibson because he was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor for Expendables 3, and he did Hacksaw Ridge this year.
Yeah.
And the Barry L. Bumstead Award for a movie that cost a lot and lost a lot in terms of budget went to Misconduct, which is the thriller starring Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, and a few other big celebrities. They made it for $11 million, and it grossed like 100,000 at the domestic box office. That was a massive box office bomb. So that was the.
Well, it's not as much as I feel like other movies have lost. It's only $11 million. I mean, that's a lot of money, but still.
If you look at the sheer percentage, I think, like for example, Paranormal Activity is the most profitable film ever made, even though it's not the most successful. I think it's looking at those ratios. But you also had nominees with like Jared Leto for Worst Supporting Actor for Suicide Squad. You had films like Dirty Grandpa and Gods of Egypt and Independence Day Resurgence, which had a lot of nominations. Alice Through the Looking Glass. Johnny Depp got a nomination.
Come on, man. He's good in that movie. Y'all need to stop hating on that movie. That's a good movie.
He was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor, but he was also nominated for Worst Screen Combo. Johnny Depp and his vomitously vibrant costume.
That's mean.
Was also,
don't do the costume designers like that. That's not their fault.
The entire cast of once respected actors in Collateral Beauty. That was a nomination. These aren't meant
the Razzies are pretty fun though. I especially like when was it Sandra Bullock that accepted her Razzie and then went and accepted her Oscar or something like that.
Yeah, she was nominated for All About Steve and then won for The Blind Side. It was like one night after the other.
Terrible movies, by the way.
Oh yeah, Blind Side's terrible. Yeah. And of course, Tyler Perry is nominated again for a Medea film because that's just to be expected.
Also, Tyler Perry, I'm sure, made millions of dollars off of that Medea film because he writes and directs that movie and stars.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor for Snowden.
He's in Snowden?
Apparently, so. I've not seen Snowden, but he's Hank Forrester in Snowden, apparently, according to the Razzies. And police siren driving past. They must clearly be after the Razzie.
Bandit, they found you. We talked about this.
Oh gosh, you won't find him here. He's in Australia. So. Yeah, that was the 37th Golden Raspberry Awards. You can find the video on their YouTube channel. And like I said, even though Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad got a lot of nominees, because I know people are going to be really, really sour about that, this is basically people pay like a $40 yearly membership fee to be a part of the Razzies, and then they just vote at the end of the year. There's like only 1,000 members. Although Worst Screen Combo was voted for by the community at Rotten Tomatoes, so So yeah, but that's the Razzies. It was fun. What were your Bandit? What was your worst film of last year? Because me and Trey did a podcast about it. It's Lost Forever.
Oh,
So
I thought it was
Yeah,
such a
that's the one that
It was.
disappeared.
yeah,
So-
it's such a good one though.
It was
I'm
good.
sad. I'm sad.
So what was your what would be your Razzie worst picture, Bandit?
Well, I kind of have to say Batman v Superman because I already said it was the worst movie ever made. I can't really.
It was my number. It was
I
my
can't
number
really step
3.
back now that I've already said that.
It was my number. It was my joint number 2 with Suicide Squad.
I can.
Really?
You know,
Yeah, I guess Suicide Squad.
my
would suck.
my worst movies of 2016 were kind of like, it was a real big DC bash episode, which maybe might be a good thing we didn't post it, because my three worst movies of 2016 in ascending order were Batman v Superman, The Killing Joke, and Suicide Squad. So there's my worst movies I saw last year. I didn't see Collateral Beauty, and I didn't see Gods of Egypt, because why would I see Gods of Egypt? You know, so I really, because the more I thought about the anger I got about the movies, and I got the level of 3 to 1 depending on how angry I got when I thought about that movie. And there are parts of Batman Superman I can watch, but I can never find myself going back to watch The Killing Joke or Suicide Squad ever again.
Mm.
So,
And my third worst was The Brothers Grimsby. Second worst was Batman v Superman, tied with Suicide Squad, because they're both terrible films by the same company, and they're terrible for very similar yet also very different reasons. So I couldn't pick between the two. And number 1 was London Has Fallen.
oh yeah. Trilbee also went on a good 20-minute rant about why London Has Fallen is incredibly xenophobic and racist. But before we go into that spiel,
Make London great again.
speaking of massive disappointments, the prologue for Alien Covenant was released.
Oh yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying I really dug the prologue. I'm only on this point because I know Bandit saw the prologue and I watched his reaction. He didn't like it at all. Trilbee, have you seen this?
I've been meaning to see it.
I really dug it.
It's like Alien meets Big Brother. That's how I've seen it described.
Is it a mockumentary?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people standing around drinking, going, ha, ha,
it's Danny
ha, ha.
McBride. It's Danny McBride addressing the camera like, listen, I just think that sometimes James Franco should stop leaving parties early. That's all. It's just them
Who
addressing
makes
the camera.
James Franco the captain of the ship?
I
Come
didn't
on.
know that James Franco was in the film.
I didn't either. I got a very, very alien vibe from the scene though, especially the way James Franco talks. He talks. What's the captain's name in the first movie again? I keep forgetting. The captain. I'm asking. Yeah. He talks a lot
Dallas
like the captain.
from the very first movie, you mean?
Yes, is that his name?
Yeah, the guy with the beard in the first movie.
Yeah.
Dallas,
Dallas. Yeah, he talks a lot like Dallas from the first movie. Just the way he just like, he talked very kind of low and monotone. But I don't know. I think it's set up. I don't think James Franco's the one that's sick. But I think what I do like about this scene is that it's pretty much all filled, and I'll describe it for you, Trilbee, and the audience if you guys haven't seen it. We open up on a ship flying into space, and we then cut to the crew doing crew things. I think James Franco as the captain takes off, and then they all start partying and having a good time.
It's like I'm really there.
Thanks, Trilbee. And then one of the because I think they're all there, they're all couples, and they're all there on a colonization mission. I think is what they said. And then one of the females starts like having a real bad coffee, very similar to John Hurt in Alien. And then Michael Fassbender's android smacks her in the back and, like, I guess dislodges what was ever in her throat.
Yeah, they do a fake out. You think it's going to be a chest burster, and she's just choking. So Fassbender hits her in the back and she coughs it up.
It was great, and he's just like, "I got your back." I read a comment in the video that I think would have made it, and I think this person is right. What if he had hit her in the back and the chest burster burst out of her chest like that? That would have been insane. That would have been so great. But I do like the.
You know what's going to happen later on though? Later on in the movie, is she's going to have a chest burster. Everyone's like, "Oh, she's coughing again." And then the chest burster's going to come out. They're probably.
What if the whole movie's just her coughing? Like, what if that's her character trait? She's the one that has a bad cough.
Can you imagine that audition?
It's like hot tub. It's like Hot Tub Time Machine. The guy that's always going to try get in that bad accident. So we're all just sitting there waiting for the chest burst to pop out. But the whole scene really is filled with a lot of I don't know if is subversion the right word? Subversion of where you think something. subversiveness. Yeah, something's going to happen, and then it doesn't happen. And I think instead they focused on building character. I don't want to talk about the ethics of having gay people on a ship, because that's what essentially the comments in that video you posted became about.
I was going to mention that in the video, but I was like, no, I'll just leave it. And everyone else is like, why do you have a gay couple if it's a colony ship? They can't breed.
Insemination, you can take embryos. Like, there's Interstellar answer. I just comment, I'm like, just watch Interstellar. Like, that's how. Anyways, there are ways, but I'm not here to talk. I'm not here to debate the ethics of.
But then they'd have to have a lesbian couple as well, and they swap.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Otherwise, it would be more efficient of a spot if you just had a man and a woman again.
I think Ridley Scott just wanted to have gay people in his movies. People would stop calling him a racist. So, I think that's honestly what happened here.
But do you think this prologue going to be in the movie, or is it a separate thing? Because before Prometheus, there was like short films about like Meet David, wasn't it? And it was there was like videos talking about like it was the videos they were almost like commercials for the Replicant or something like that. So do you think this is going to be a separate thing, or do you think this is just a 5-minute scene?
No, it's shot like an actual scene from the movie, which at first I was a little trepidatious. I'm like, why would I want to watch the first 5 minutes of a movie? But I think it's important that they release this out, because I think it really does match the tone of the trailers to the extent of it feels very sinister, but it also has a lot of, lightheartedness to it in the characters. I don't know. It's probably gonna take place right after the logos, I guess. Maybe it's just gonna be like, it's logos, ship, and then the movie starts.
They do make. There's one of them says, I heard some crazy story about a whole bunch of alien bugs by this colony. And it's like, well, if that's LV-426, then this is set after Aliens.
Well, if they're it might. Well, no, this is definitely
Ripley is probably in cryosleep floating around somewhere.
No, this is definitely set before the first Alien. I mean, it would have to be if they're still sending out the David-esque androids. I think what's this one's name? This one has a different name though. It's not David. Like if they still, and I think the plot even is about. Don't they mention Shaw in the synopsis? This is definitely set before Alien, but after Prometheus.
So
it's in that middle.
That would mean then, because it is established in Aliens that there are other aliens in this galaxy before they meet the Xenomorph, and they call them like, is this a stand-up fight or another bug hunt? So she could just be talking about some other alien thing.
I do. That's like a massive like Chekhov's gun though. Like clearly it's like I heard about these giant cockroach things that were like the size of giant poodles.
Yeah, like why would you say that if you're not referring to the other movie?
Maybe if you were, I'm like, it just seemed really obvious. I'm like, okay, well then clearly, or dude, could you imagine like David punches her in the back and then a giant cockroach comes out of her chest? This movie has the opportunity to do some really cool stuff, and I hope Ridley Scott doesn't just remake the first Alien, because that would really suck. I really
want them to bring in the Arcturians that they mentioned in Aliens. I really, really want that. Remember that line?
I don't know what that is.
There's the line. He's like, I could really do with some of that Arcturian poontang. And he goes,
sorry.
And then he goes, male or female, it don't matter if it's Arcturian. So there's some race of alien where the genders are kind of the same and they're sexually compatible with humans. Just from that one line.
Like species.
I want to see what they look like.
It turns out that is James Franco. Like, the one you least expect.
Well, my question now is, so is James Franco can't be the one that's sick, because we see Billy Crudup get Dr. Manhattan. We see him get the facehugger in the trailer, don't we? Unless it's just clever editing. You know what I'd really appreciate in the movie is then when he leans his face over the egg, you hear somebody go, hey, watch out. Because like the egg opens and then he looks in and like maybe someone just like, hey man, watch out, and then he moves his head. And then that scene just keeps going. I'm down for a scene like that in the movie.
And if there's like a collapsing spaceship, they can be like, no, run to the side. Oh yeah. Yes. And then they start doing that. But the good thing about a film like Alien Covenant is that because I'm guessing most of it's going to be set on this spaceship, there's not going to be any leaked set photos or anything. We could be completely surprised. They don't need to show anything. There could be a predator bursting out of someone's chest for all we know, instead of an alien, and we never know.
Yeah, I do say I really dug the first trailer. I really enjoyed I think the prologue. I'm getting excited for the movie, and the poster is spectacular. It's a great poster.
I think
find out at the end of May.
Yeah, and I think it's been long enough since Prometheus that probably most of the audience is not going to care about having any of the questions from Prometheus answered.
What is the black goo?
Yeah, it's a mutagen.
Now it's like
something.
Now it's like black spores, right? Until they step on and it gets in his ear or whatever, and
yeah,
right? Doesn't it happen in the first trailer? Yeah.
I've already forgotten most of that film, so it's good to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Well then, let's go into our nominations for best homework assignment, shall we, gentlemen?
It's bullshit. Waiter, what can a black man do to get some water around here?
Give the fucking guy some water. He's black. He's been through a lot.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is your nominees for best homework assignment, and to present our nominees are Mr. Trilbee / Mr. Titus. Trilbee, please go ahead.
Okay, the nominee that I've put forward, even though I consider it to be maybe a bit of an Oscar snub because the Weinsteins did jack all to promote it, which is very unlike the Weinsteins, but that's The Founder, starring Michael Keaton, and it's the story of the quote-unquote founding of the McDonald's fast food restaurant chain. Have either of you two seen this?
McDonald's?
I really
no,
do
the
want
movie.
to.
No. No, yeah, it's on my list.
Have either of you two seen a McDonald's? Like a real one? Yeah, basically it's set in the 50s, and McDonald's has been established for a couple of years, and it's only in a couple of states. And Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc, who's just a traveling milkshake maker salesman, and he gets an order in for 8 milkshake makers, even though he's never seen a restaurant need more than 1 or 2. So he travels to the original McDonald's, and it's the 2 McDonald's brothers, played by John Carroll Lynch and Nick Offerman, and he decides to partner up, have a business relationship with these 2 gentlemen. And he essentially steals McDonald's right out from under them, because he starts franchising the chain to different companies, to different owners all across America. And he's able to use property loopholes and other business jargon, mumbo jumbo, to essentially steal the McDonald's chain from under its original creators. And it's basically The Social Network, but with McDonald's. And if that sounds like something you'd be into, I highly recommend you check out The Founder, because this is a really solid biopic. I think Michael Keaton gives a terrific performance. I was thinking he might be nominated for Best Actor for it after he because he's had a great couple of years. It's a Keaton renaissance, basically, after Spotlight. Keaton-sons after Spotlight, after Birdman, after Need for Speed. That was a massive Oscar snub in my opinion.
RoboCop.
Yes. And of course, he's also appearing in Spider-Man: Homecoming, which should be a lot of fun. But it's the first half starts off as basically just a big commercial for McDonald's. It talks about the founding of it and how great it is. It's let's get orders ready in 30 seconds instead of 30 minutes. Let's revolutionize the whole thing. And you kind of forget how revolutionary McDonald's actually was, even though it just seems so bog standard and normal today. Like, people would just have to wait in their cars outside of a restaurant, wait 30 minutes for an order to arrive, and it would probably be undercooked, or it would be cold, or it would just be the wrong order, and you'd have to eat it in the car, and you'd have to get rid of all the plates and the knives and forks. Whereas McDonald's was the first big restaurant chain to have paper packaging that you just throw away. It was ready almost immediately after you ordered it, because there was this incredibly elaborate system that the McDonald brothers had coordinated to get orders just constantly moving and constantly ready, and just incredibly cheap food. Like, it was 10 cents for a burger and 20 cents for a milkshake, or like back in the 50s. God. It starts off as a commercial.
50s.
I know, bloody inflation. Back in my day, you could watch a movie for a nickel.
What'd you just call me, Shelby?
Sorry, I'd like to trade this gentleman for a screening of Batman, please. Well, it's why back. This may sound weird, but random bit of trivia. Even though The Dark Knight made more money than Tim Burton's Batman, because of inflation, it's like more people went to see Tim Burton's Batman than they did The Dark Knight. In terms of sheer numbers, Tim Burton's Batman was more popular.
Record of people that have seen a movie in theaters, isn't it like 60-something million? which doesn't sound like a lot considering the movies make billions of dollars. But I guess if you look at how the math works, I'm not good.
Yeah. Nowadays, only 3 people need to see a movie, and it breaks box office records. That's ticket prices for you. I'm kidding, but yeah, but then the second half, it gets you to really like these 2 brothers, and then it's kind of depressing to see this happen to them, because even though Ray Kroc he's a really smart businessman, and you kind of respect him, you also hate what he did, because it's not, I don't know if it's really a spoiler because it's like a true story and everything, but at the end of the film, when he finally gets complete and total control over McDonald's, he basically says to the McDonald's brothers, I give you my word, going to have a handshake deal that you will get royalties from this. You'll get royalties for you and your family for the rest of, until McDonald's is over. And those royalties are estimated to be about $130 million a year and rising. However, the McDonald's brothers and their family have not received a cent.
Dude.
Yeah, this is... And it's one of those films that makes you never want to eat at McDonald's again out of spite, but makes you really want to crave a Big Mac. I just want to eat McDonald's now.
You're just like, man, he sucks as you bite into your McGriddle. Oh,
exactly, that McRib. I don't even know if this is meat.
Definitely ain't pork.
Well, yeah, and Michael Keaton's great. It's got a really great just ensemble cast. Random thing, Jeremy Renner is a producer of this film, and his wife in Age of Ultron, Laura Barton, Linda Cardellini, is in this film.
Linda Cardellini, yeah. It's
really random. It was just so strange just seeing Jeremy Renner appear as a producer. But it's a really solid biopic. I don't think it's not got the wit or the style of The Social Network. This does feel like it's an ambitious story in terms of how long it is, and of course it's got the McDonald's name on it. But it's not a big this is kind of like the same scale as Saving Mr. Banks, and it comes from the same director. It also comes from the same director as The Blind Side, but this film is significantly better than The Blind Side. But I'd really recommend you check out The Founder if you can. It's been overlooked at the Oscars because the Weinstein Company have done a terrible job. Ironically, considering the source material of The Founder and all the lawsuits and everything, all of the legal stuff that happened, the production company who made The Founder sued the Weinstein Company because in their contract they said you will not put this movie up against another Weinstein movie in the release schedule, and they released it on the same week as Gold, the Matthew McConaughey film, also done by the Weinstein Company. So a movie about suing and legal mumbo jumbo ended up suing the people who distributed the film, which is probably why they decided not to push Michael Keaton for Best Actor or at the Oscars or anything like that.
Could you imagine? Michael Keaton has 3 years in a row where his own was nominated for Best Picture? That's crazy.
That would have been... having 2 in a row is impressive enough anyway, but Michael Keaton, I just hope he continues to find work like this, because he really does excel at roles like this. He's really natural. He plays a sleazy but unlikable yet oddly respectable businessman who did kind of revolutionize McDonald's and bring it to the masses, but he did ultimately steal it. And the title of The Founder is a deliberately, knowingly ironic title, and it's able to pull the rug up from under the audience in terms of it starts off as a commercial, and then it's that stuff you love and that food you enjoy, that's dirty money, basically. I think that it's a story that's worth knowing about, and of course you don't have to eat at McDonald's, or you could eat as much as you want, but I think it's just worth knowing about the American dream and what capitalism can sometimes look like. So I recommend The Founder wholeheartedly.
Wow.
So has anybody else got any other films?
I do, yes. The Founder. No, not The Founder, but I was just close to it. Yes. I saw Lego Batman finally. I saw Lego Batman a couple weeks ago, and here's what I will say. I don't think, just because it's nowhere, my family is, I'm not sure you can hear them. Just because it is nowhere near as good as the Lego Movie doesn't mean it's a bad movie, because the Lego Movie for me is a movie that's slowly creeping toward the 10 out of 10 film for me. So that being said, trademark, copyright, Sherman Way. Lego Batman movie is not a great movie.
Bam,
it
you
is
have
a
been
good
raped.
one.
Trademark. Don't forget that one.
Every podcast is someone's first podcast.
No context to that joke.
To my friends at school who may be listening to this, and they're just like, what did you just say? Just ignore it. Just forget it. Just forget about it. And Lego Batman may not. It's not a great movie. It is a good one though, and it's unfortunate because the first maybe 40 minutes, maybe long, maybe half hour, is really, really strong, and it's really funny. It's really clever. It's very subversive, but it's like people have been saying, once they realize they have to actually tell a story and get out a Batman, actually like an actual Batman movie, you realize that that's their weak point. You can tell they don't have a Phil Lord or Chris Miller to really hammer out that script and really work out the story really well. Because, literally from the first frame and the first second of the movie, I was laughing really, really hard from especially two best friends. Oh my god, that light's so great. Okay, and I was really upset that the movie couldn't keep that. Not necessarily, I mean, not even the pacing, because you can slow down your movie, whatever. But the wit, I feel like never matched up to what we got in that first, maybe first half of the movie. And Will Arnett does a good job. Michael Cera does a fine job as Robin. Rosario Dawson, I don't know if it's because they didn't write her anything funny to say, but she just seemed very bland to me as Batgirl. And I'll say Zach Galifianakis as the Joker is an inspired choice, and he's very good in it. And I love the relationship that Batman and the Joker has. It's very, it's really funny. I hate you. That was great. The way they handle the Lego mechanics, I found quite disappointing. Not necessarily just because there aren't things like thumbprints or cracked helmets or anything like that, but just because it was really it bummed me out to see real water, if that makes any sense. Like, it was like to see CG water in a Lego movie just kind of made me upset, because I'm used to watching Lego movie and seeing like all the little Lego pieces. They did Clayface pretty well until they couldn't do the water. But overall, I found myself disappointed, but still very entertained. And I don't think it's a film I'm going to come back to a lot and see over and over again. But I do think it's a film that you can tell the people behind it really do love the character of Batman. Perhaps if they just had a stronger script, I feel like we would have gotten a better movie. It's like a 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, so I've reviewed it. I think it was the last time I was on the podcast, and I gave it I think I gave it like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I agree that the story is the weakest part, and when you have a character like the teenage mopester Batman that they've got in this Lego franchise, he's incredibly stubborn and refuses to learn his lesson, which means that the movie it's got quite a slow pace in terms of his progression as a character, because he just refuses to learn the lesson that he needs to learn for a very long time. But apart from that, that was like my main problem with the Lego Batman movie. But I think I clearly enjoyed it a lot more than you did. But I think this one might actually, in retrospect, when you look at Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad and this current mopey, self-serious DCEU that we've got, I think this is just a massive breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah, it's most definitely something that you can. Oh, it's nice to see Batman telling a joke. Iron Man sucks. It's a nice joke that I just wish I could have gotten the substance. You know what I'm saying? Because
you don't reckon it'll eventually become the highest-grossing Batman movie of all time?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know what it's at right now, but it opened at like 40 million at the box office, which isn't terrible, but it's not something spectacular.
I think it's like at half the current gross of the Lego movie, like just under half.
Oh, that is not a lot.
I think that's a bit disappointing, because it cost. It had a bigger budget than the Lego movie.
Yeah, that's only like 200-something million, right?
So Lego movie got 469 million, and Lego Batman currently stands at 226 million. So more money still to come in, but unless it's opening in any more territories, this thing could top out at 250.
Ooh,
right? And that's optimistic.
That is not good. What was the budget?
80 million, and for the Lego movie it was 60 million.
Yeah, that's at least 160 in because there was a lot of promo for this movie too. So that's 160 budget, you know, and then you can take away some of the profits from the movie theater. Yeah, that's. I mean, they made money. They made money for sure, but they did not make that was not a massive success. If only tops out at 200 million. Oh, yeah. Or 250.
Yeah, that is disappointing.
I liked the movie. It feels to me kind of like Rogue One. When I saw Rogue One, I was like, yeah, that was good. Maybe I just needed more. I felt like they had a really good half-hour sketch in mind for a Batman thing. And they said, "Oh, let's just have Batman come in and take that all." And it's weird because the opening feels very Lego movie. It feels very high energy, really clever, really obviously trying to make a statement about modern Batman cinema and Batman as a whole. And then it just it doesn't have the story of this hero who wants to come up and save the day and being a good person, how everyone's special in their own way that the Lego movie was able to have. And the only reason I can really compare this to Lego movie is because it feels like a direct sequel in many respects. But I don't know, I did, and especially in what they do in the third act in terms of who they bring in characters, and I just said, why isn't this making me jump out of my seat? Like I think they wanted to. I don't know.
So was the Joker the main villain?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us some of the other characters? Without,
it's been a couple of weeks, so I think spoilers are okay.
Well, Joker goes into this land of bad people, and he brings out
Zone.
Yeah, Phantom Zone. There he goes, and he brings in all the villains that Warner Brothers owns. So you see like the Daleks from Doctor Who and Sauron and Lord of the Rings, and it sounds funny, right? It's funny for like the first 2 minutes.
I thought it stayed funny because the thing about Lego Batman is that it exists in the Lego movie universe, which, as we know from the first film, encompasses many franchises. So you've got Voldemort, who's not voiced by Ray Fiennes, even though he's Alfred.
Is a shame.
Why?
They got Billy D. If they could get Billy D, they could get Ray Fiennes to do 2 different voices. That's all I'm saying.
And King Kong is in there as well. The Wicked Witch of the West, the Kraken from Clash of the Titans, the Gremlins, which I thought was really funny. How the Gremlins are the one ripping apart the plane, Twilight Zone style.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of fun with the different franchises, but apart from that and the Lego aesthetic, it doesn't feel like it needed to be a Lego Batman movie. But it's not really a criticism. I think it's
hi there. My name is Richard Grayson, but all my friends call me Dick. Well, kids can be cruel. That might be the best line in the entire movie. That might be the best line in the entire movie.
the scene in the Fortress of Solitude with other Justice League members.
I think that might be the moment where I realized I wasn't loving this movie. Was the scene in the Fortress of Solitude after the doorbell joke? That's pretty much. I don't think I laughed another time in that scene.
Yeah,
that's a good doorbell joke though.
Well, there goes your heart, Trey. That's just look at that cute Robin face. Does he need to make his eyes any bigger?
Maybe it's because they gave Robin nothing other than the fact that he was just adorable, and I'm like, that's great, but what else is he? He's just there to look adorable and do adorable things, and like I need something maybe a little more.
Fair enough.
That's just whatever.
But at least you've got the Lego Movie 2 coming out. Is it next year?
Out for Lord of Chris Miller. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Oh no, that's 2019. There was the Ninjago trailer though.
Ninjago looks really good.
That looks surprisingly good.
The what?
Cool. Like, they have like the
Ninjago.
Lego Ninjago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, don't mind me.
I heard something else. No.
What are the kids playing with this Ninjago?
It looks like it kind of looks like an old Jackie Chan movie where like he's fighting he's slamming like fridge doors into people. It looks really cool.
Well, Jackie Chan is a voice in the film, isn't he?
Yeah, and I watched that show they did a couple of years ago. I watched some of that show. That's a good show. Yeah, and I'm happy they're building up their brand and doing stuff other than Lego movie sequels. They're really expanding this out, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Bandit, did you see anything, Bandit?
No, I haven't seen anything. I've been reviewing really old movies, so I haven't really gone out and seen a movie.
We are movie maniacs, and we're watching lots of films.
So some movie got snubbed because Bandit didn't see it.
I can tell you about the assembly cut of Alien 3, though. If anyone's
Priorities,
interested,
Here, I got you. Or you can also see it on Bandit's video, youtube.com/user/Bandit Incorporated. Got you.
Thanks, man. Should we jump into some questions because we're approaching the 1 hour mark?
Do you not have another movie to use, Trilbee?
I could do a lightning round real quick.
Please.
Ooh.
Okay, 1 second.
Hang on.
Right,
I got to make note to include the sound effects because I haven't had a chance to do it again since the last one.
Okay, right. So I've got 60 seconds. I've got a timer on my phone. So yeah, the countdown music.
Do you want me to time you? Do you want me to do it?
No, I've got a timer. I've got one. Okay.
Yeah, the delay as well in time.
Okay, right, ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go. I saw Hidden Figures, and after researching the true story, it's a massive embellishment of what actually happened, but it's still a noteworthy and relevant story. I feel like this is the best Lifetime movie ever made because it does have those aspirations, but it's still a really good, really endearing film. The central cast is really, really good, and the guy, he was the bad guy in Luke Cage, Mahershala Ali. He was also in Moonlight. Yeah, Moonlight. Yes. He's had a hell of a year, hasn't he? Yes. He was in Free State of Jones, but he'd rather you forget about that. But the trio was really, really good. I'm not really sure why Octavia Spencer is the one who's got the nomination. I don't know. But there's a lot of embellishments to the source material, which kind of makes Kevin Costner like the white savior character, which is even though in the true story they had a lot more agency. The African American women who helped to get the astronauts into space.
You can say black, Trilbee. It's okay.
It's okay. Them SJWs will come after me. And that's my minute. But I highly recommend Hidden Figures. I give it 7 out of 10.
Right.
And I have one... have any of you two seen Hidden Figures?
No, it's on my list.
No, okay. But I've heard about it, so...
fair enough. Yeah, it's probably not going to win anything at the Oscars tonight, because we're recording this, like, the Oscars are like 3 or 4 hours away.
Yeah.
You mentioned it embellishes the history. How much does it embellish the history?
End of lightning round. Not a discussion.
Well, essentially, of course, this is 1960s America. There was a lot of racial segregation. There's coloured bathrooms, coloured water fountains, and there was obviously a lot of oppression happening in the 1960s America. But even it feels like the main trio of actresses who are in the film, Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe, those three actresses playing the 3 characters, they had a lot more agency in real life, whereas in this film they often have to have Kevin Costner come to the rescue quite a bit. Like there's a scene when Taraji P. Henson's character, she plays is it Catherine Goebel? Yeah, Catherine Goebel Johnson, one of the mathematicians at NASA. She has to run a quarter of a mile just to go to the bathroom because in that section of NASA there was no coloured bathroom. So she has to go all the way to the other side of NASA just to use the restroom, so it's like a 40-minute walk. And what actually happened in real life was that she didn't even know that there was racial segregated toilets in that part of the building. So she just kept on going into the white bathrooms. And when people told her, no, these are white ones, she just kept on going in anyway. So instead in the film, she stands up to Kevin Costner's character, who's the head of this division at NASA, and then he just breaks down the coloured sign. So it just feels like they had a lot more agency and a lot more authority in the real life story. But it's still a really good biopic, I think, even if it does do a lot of embellishment. It's one that makes you want to research the story more, because this is a story that there was a book that came out a year ago, the Hidden Figures book. So this is a story that's only been told very, very recently. And random trivia: the director Theodore Melfi, he was actually offered the Spider-Man Homecoming gig, and he turned it down to do Hidden Figures.
Okay, so it's really more about just like these 3 women just in their life during that time. Because what I heard about it was it's like these were the real masterminds behind the space landing, and people were like, really?
Well, there were some of the most important people working at NASA to overtake Russia in the space race.
Yeah.
And you've got Catherine Goebel, who was like one of the main mathematicians who did the John Glenn launch mission in 1962, which is the first American to orbit the Earth. because Russia had beat them to it at that time.
Yeah.
But there's also the story of I guess looking at Dorothy Vaughan, who was the very first African American female supervisor at NASA, and Janelle Monáe, who is played the very first African American female engineer at NASA, and she was also one of the, I think she was the first woman to ever graduate from Virginia School, because that was a white school back in the 60s. So you've got these three stories happening at the same time over the course of a couple of years, whereas in reality these three women were working at NASA for about 20, 30 years. But the film compresses all of those achievements down to just a handful of months and years. There is a lot of embellishment, but the actual root of the story and what it's representing and the inspirational story that it is telling still comes through. And I really appreciated and enjoyed it. I just don't really think it would make my personal top 20 of the past year, let alone be a Best Picture nominee. But it's, for lack of a better term, a black movie. And when you've had Oscar so white, I can understand why they wanted to nominate it.
Right.
I will say this: my entire family has seen it, so that's not surprising. They love those quote unquote black movies. Quote unquote black movies. Okay. If you give me, I want to talk about a movie for 30 seconds. I feel like it's not going to get any love, and it's a pretty good movie. So if I can have 30 seconds, then we'll jump into the listener questions.
Okay, I'll tell you when you've got 10 seconds left. Okay.
Okay. So again, give me the start. Give me the start.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so I saw Fist Fight. That's a movie with Charlie Day and Ice Cube. Now, before you guys go, why are you talking about Fist Fight? Because it's a good movie. I saw it, and it's really funny, and I laughed pretty much the entire way. And not only is it funny, it has a really good message. It has a lot of heart to it, and I don't think it's getting the love that it deserves. Because in a world where the best comedy of last year was technically Ghostbusters, I think Fist Fight should have gotten more love. It's really funny. Hashtag I look like a minion. 7 out of 10.
Sweet, 2 seconds to spare. So that's another black movie because it's got Ice Cube in it, right? That's how is that how this works?
Yes. Give it an Oscar.
And I've got one more film, which I think hardly anyone has seen.
10 guys rolled into one, so yeah, it counts.
Sure.
That guy needs to play JJ in the new Spider-Man reboot.
Yes. Let him be JJ.
Oh, that'd be great.
I know.
Give me those pictures of Spider-Man, you dig?
Oh god.
You dig? You dig? Really?
He goes all straight out of Compton, starts smashing the office with a baseball bat, you know.
Have you guys seen 22 Jump Street? It's just the scene of him trying to get lunch. It's just scenes like that. It's in 22.
Can I get some water? Give the guy some water. He's black.
He's been through a lot.
Oh god.
Y'all having rashes? What's going on? Give me the green beans. Oh, it's a funny movie. That's so funny.
Okay, I've got one more film, which is like hardly anybody has seen because it's like a micro budget independent thing. But it's called I'm Not a Serial Killer. So 3, 2, 1, go. It's based off the book by Dan Wells, and you know the kid who was in Where the Wild Things Are, the film that came out 7 or 8 years ago. That kid's grown up now, and he's the main character in this, and he plays a teenage boy in this backwater Midwestern town, and he's been told by his therapist and the people around him constantly that he is exhibiting signs of being a serial killer, and he's a sociopath. And what happens is that an actual serial killer is killing people in this town, and he has to find out who's doing it. It's not really much of a spoiler to say that the killer is Christopher Lloyd, in other words, Doc Brown from Back to the Future. Because that's not really the twist of the film, because the twist is exactly what his motives are, and how he's killing people. Basically, Christopher Lloyd is a big black goop monster. He's basically a big pile of Marmite, which is really weird. He's the black goo from Prometheus. It's a pretty decent film. It's very atmospheric, micro-budget film, but it never really lets you get into the main character's headspace. And that's my 60 seconds. I'll give it 6 out of 10.
All right. Speed round.
Speed round. Did pretty well. But yeah, it was the budget was like $1 million. It's based off a book that no one's heard of, but getting Christopher Lloyd in your film to play the killer, that's, if you want to see him as a villain, because you just see him as the cheery, fun scientist professor guy in most of his roles, I think it's a subversive term. And kids, that is our word of the week.
Christopher
subversive.
Lloyd. It's amazing he's still alive, but Bill Paxton is dead. Christopher Lloyd looked like he was 100 years old back in Back to the Future, but he's still kicking.
He did, didn't he?
What
He's
is with that
78.
guy?
He's only 78.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's kind of like John Hurt, where he's
Yeah,
always
I
looked
was
old.
just about to say he's like John Hurt. John Hurt always looked like an old man.
Because Back to the Future was 30 years ago, so how old? He was in his late 40s? No,
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, he was in his late
40s.
40s.
He was in his 40s.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, okay. Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. All right, guys. All right. Let's get to our big nominees of the night. Our listener questions, everybody.
Come on, man, hook me up. What the fuck y'all doing? Y'all rationing around here? Come on, hook me up. 2 little fucking string beans? Give me the goddamn string beans. I want some fucking devil eggs. I like fruit. Don't you like fruit? I like fruit. But this pork shit got to go.
Take me out on the door.
Shit was nasty.
He's under a lot of pressure at work.
What's up, player? Wanna go to the movies? Break your motherfucking legs. Break your legs. What? How you doing, Mr. Nice Player? Get your fucking ass in there.
All right, guys. Here are your nominees because the music, the Oscar music is playing, and we don't have time to sit around and log out. Here are your listener questions. The first one is asked by I just lost it. Where did it go? Okay, Christopher Ryan asked, "Whoa, what are you all most excited about the Nightwing movie, and who do you want to play Nightwing?" The Nightwing movie. First of all, let's just start off. Allegedly, the Nightwing movie. Nothing's been confirmed yet. But the rumor, if you guys don't know at this point, I forgot to put this in the news, is that apparently Chris McKay, the guy who did Lego Batman, actually, is in talks to direct a solo Nightwing film, created a solo Nightwing film to be released by Warner Bros. Obviously, which is odd in its own right because they can't get a Batman movie right. Why have they even tried to do Nightwing at this point? Because if I were to walk in my living room and say, "Hey guys, we're getting a Nightwing," who?
Everyone to go, who?
Whatever.
Yeah, who's Nightwing?
Yeah, be like, and then one guy would be like, "Is that one movie I saw with that guy in the news camera?" I'm like, "No, Grandma, that's Nightcrawler." See what I'm
Well,
saying?
some of the names doing the rounds now: Zac Efron, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and some people think Arnie Hammer because they want to set up Arnie Hammer in case Ben Affleck leaves. They can slot him in as the new Batman. That's the rumor going around. I ain't your Robin.
You and me, Batman, in the park after school.
And Tracy Morgan as Alfred.
Jonah Hill as Alfred.
Jonah Hill as Alfred. Listen, Batman, I don't know if we can just do this right now, Batman. I'm just not feeling it.
But there's only one Nightwing movie I would want to see, and that is an Under the Red Hood movie, basically. Because I think with the way that it's set up with Robin already being dead, I think the best way to do a Robin legacy film would be Under the Red Hood. I think the ground is set for that one, and it may be very similar to the Winter Soldier, even though I think Under the Red Hood did it first. In terms of a companion who was thought to have been killed has now come back as a villain, in that respect. But I think that's the story is solid enough.
I agree.
Here's a free letter. Here's a free letter to DC. If you guys just want to know how to do a Batman movie, and you guys clearly can't figure it out for some reason, and that's my real focus here. I'm like, Lightwing movie sounds cool, but it's like Marvel announcing that we're gonna get Guardians of the Galaxy, or we're gonna get like Doctor Strange before we get a first Avengers movie. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just wait a minute, just give it time. If you can't do a Batman movie, here you go. Just make it like Seven, but instead of the John Doe or whatever just make it Calendar Man, which sounds stupid, but that could be a really cool style thriller, and that's what you do. And I just wanted to get it off my chest real quick. Just make Seven with Calendar Man, and that's your Batman movie. It's really not that hard. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but that's my.
You just feel stupid how they keep on allegedly, because this is not confirmed, just to emphasize again, it just feels like they're just green-lighting or thinking about more and more movies. It was like, oh, we can't even get one right now. Let's do 2 Shazam movies, a Black Adam movie, Gotham City Sirens, Nightwing. Yeah. It's like, dude, you couldn't even do Suicide Squad. You couldn't do Suicide Squad.
I'm sorry, DC. How's that?
Superman.
I was gonna say you can't do Batman versus Superman exactly.
Should have been the easiest movie to make.
Your Batman v Superman fight in Batman v Superman was trash. Okay, I'm sorry, DC. How's Flash coming along again? If you guys just before you guys try to do Nightwing, can we get a Flash movie maybe?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman looks okay, but apparently that's not great either. So what's going on over here, DC? Okay, all right. We have time to answer another question here. Next question here. Ben Berkowitz asked, I like this question. If you could create the 10 commandments of filmmaking that all studios have to abide by, what would you like to see? Like for example, he says an example, never kill the dog and never hire you a bull to direct anything. So that's a good question.
I think we've got 2 of them. Now we just need to come up with 8.
Yeah, there you go. Never kill the dog. Actually, you know what? In my 10 commandments, always kill the dog.
Oh, okay. Here's one. Never set up the sequel in your first movie.
Yes.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's fine. But then when they did the second one and they knew it would be a big hit and they already had the third one in development and they teased the return of Barbossa at the end of the second one, that's fine. But when you get say the end of the Dragon Ball Evolution movie or at the end of what else was there? At the end of Eragon. And it's like, we're setting up for 5 more sequels, and you didn't even do 1 right. Yeah. You're not allowed to do that.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely happening. So that's
still
fine. It doesn't mean that's like good.
I don't want the movie's 10 Fountainments to be a trailer for the next one.
No, that's fair.
Okay.
Actually, Trilbee, there is. I know you got to go, but there's one last question specifically for you. Do you want to deal with that before you go?
Yeah, go on. Okay, yes. Tom Quirk asks, because Trilbee wasn't around to answer it last time, who's your pick to replace Peter Capaldi in Doctor Who? The latest episode of my Film Brits podcast discussed this very issue, but I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm rooting for James Nesbitt, who, for those of you who probably don't know outside the UK, he was in the Hobbit films. Which dwarf was he? He was the one which had the weird winged cap. He played Bopher. He was playing the flute. He had the big mustache. It was pretty cool. But he is like a really, really awesome actor. He played Jekyll and Hyde in the TV series Jekyll. He's currently in Stan Lee's Lucky Man. He's done some great work, and I think he's a terrific pick for the Doctor. I'm also rooting for Saran Jones or Hayley Atwell or Richard Ayoade. Those are my picks for the next Doctor.
Hayley Atwell. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we know that she can carry a TV series after Agent Carter, and we know that she's ridiculously talented. And I know there's the discussion happening right now saying they must cast a non-white or they must cast a woman. It's like, no, there's no must about it. Like, there's nothing saying that they can't, but there's no obligation. I think they should at least audition with diversity in mind, but they don't have a quota to meet or anything. But if it is a white man playing the Doctor again, it's fine. It's okay. If it is somebody that's not part of the status quo, that's fine as well. Like, the Pandora's box in the series has been opened. They do whatever they want. So that's basically my 2 cents about it. But we all know that it's not going to be any of those people because they'll do what they always do. They cast someone who, in retrospect, might have been considered a big name, but it was someone who they never really, not many people predicted. Like, they're not going to cast Tom Hiddleston or Idris Elba as the next Bond because we're asking for it too much. It's too predictable.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my answer to that. But let's go for James Nesbitt, Hayley Atwell, Saran Jones, or Richard Ayoade. Those are my picks.
Those all sounded so British names. It's all the same.
Has anyone seen the IT Crowd?
Yeah.
Yeah, Moss.
Love it.
It's Richard Ayoade. He's just, I don't know if he can do any of the drama, but that guy, he looks like a nerdy alien. so sure, and I guess that guy is ridiculously talented. He writes and directs amazing films as well, and his comedy's great as well. So just save some talent for the rest of us, please. Crying out loud. Yeah, those are my picks. Gonna do any more questions or?
Actually, there is.
What we get?
If you got time, Trill, because I know you got to head off.
Yeah. There's no point leaving 5 minutes before the end. Might as well just stick around.
Sure. Well, there is one that sounds pretty fun. Liam Stobby says, if you could swap your brain with any movie director, who would it be? Keeping in mind that this director would also be in your body, so this person would become a member of the Movie Mania podcast. So it's two parts
Holy-
of it. Like, what director do you want to become?
Michael
basically?
Bay.
And then who do you
Michael
want to have
Bay.
on it?
Michael Bay. Michael Bay. All the coke. All the coke. It's mine.
Honestly, I'd want to jump into Zack Snyder's body, so I could like hopefully fix Justice League
Because
before
if
he
you see
completely
someone like-
ruins the DC brand for like a generation.
Right. Okay. I've got it. I've
And
got
then
it.
you guys can put
You
up
may-
with him going, pretty high drama, huh? I'm going to reference 300 again. You know?
Guys, I've got it. I know who we need to have.
On the podcast in IMAX, okay? That's all this is gonna have to work.
Okay, guys, we need Ice Cube. And that may be
He's
a
not a
joke,
director.
but he directed a movie in 1998 called The Players Club. It is the only film he has ever directed, and he's also directed a couple of TV shows. So, Ice Cube,
What's going on?
welcome to the Movie Mania podcast.
Yeah, but you'd make a very British Ice Cube. You make a very
Oh,
British, politically correct Ice Cube.
I would turn into Richard Ayoade. But, yeah.
You'd be rapping about like Doctor Who and all that.
You gotta be careful because like if you say like Mel Gibson, and it's suddenly like this podcast becomes something completely
Oh,
different.
yeah,
you know what
you
I'm
do
saying?
not want to catch that guy in an audio conversation.
No.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, you say it's like
You'd
Mel
start
Gibson
the podcast,
or like
you'd be like, "I'll tell you what's wrong with the Jews," and you'd be like, "No, not now."
it's like, so Mel, what do you think? What do you think about Batman? Jew man? What? No, Batman. Right, black
Just
man.
every now and
Let
then
me get my
he
opinion on
shouts,
black
"It's the
men.
Jews." Actually, that'd be cool. Yeah.
No,
We do it viral.
Bandit.
Controversy
Great to have on
sells.
the podcast.
I feel like Michael Bay is someone that I just want to sit down and have a conversation with and see what he's like. I just want to see what he's like. Also, if I were to switch minds with him, oh my god, I'd be rich. Second of all, I wouldn't be talented per se, but I would have access to all these wonderful resources, and then all the coke. Man, just mountains of just like Scarface levels.
Oh yeah, you
Michael
just
Bay, you
get a
don't
pile,
have
you
to tell
slam your face in it.
It's like Scrooge McDuck, but cocaine.
Just swimming in a powder pool.
Oh wait, I got one. What about if you if your brain jumped into George Lucas? What about that? And then George Lucas would just be here, just complaining bitterly about Force Awakens all the time, and I'd be like,
Yeah, but
"I know,
can you
right? I
imagine-
know."
If Bandit and George Lucas are in the same podcast, because George would be like, "So you're the guy who basically rewrote my movies."
Right. You know, in my version, you know, Anakin wasn't really bad until you know the very end of the last one. You know, I don't think, I don't know, I don't like the way you're handling my story. You know what? I'm just gonna go. If you can give me a Coke Zero, I'm playing. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm gonna special edition this. You know, I can do this. I have money.
There was a rumor, although I know that it kind of went under the radar, but apparently there's a rumor saying that the original Star Wars trilogy is going to get the original cut's going to get a release this year because it's the 40th anniversary.
Oh, I
That
saw
can't
that.
happen. Well,
I saw that.
If it does
Like-
happen,
like-
it'll be with 20th Century Fox. It won't be a Disney thing.
Yeah,
because-
but it's a complete rumor. Don't run with this cinema blend or whatever you guys do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I was going to
So
say,
that-
like, I
that'll be
think
fun.
because the person, the rights to A New Hope are permanently with whatever studio it is. I can't remember.
Fox. It's
Yeah,
Fox.
so the other two are separate. So, like, the chance of getting all three with the theatrical cut again is pretty much slim to nothing.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure when you buy, like, if you download them all on iTunes, doesn't New Hope come with a 20th Century Fox logo? I can't remember if it does, but I feel like it does.
I'm not sure. I've never bought anything through iTunes before.
Yeah. You know, I have a Steelbook Blu-ray of a New Hope. I might just watch that tonight and just make sure.
I really want the Steelbook of Deepwater Horizon. I saw it in the store today, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's such a cool cover!"
Yes. Okay. Right on. Yeah. Well, moral of the story is I would switch mine to Michael Bay, and if I were to switch mine to George Lucas, I would be knocking at the doors of Disney and being like, "Let me in, let me
The
in."
moral of the story is
Let
the
me write
answer to
episode
every
9.
question is Ice Cube.
Every.
Like Ryan Williamson asks, "Who would be your pick to play the Riddler in the DCEU?" Ice Cube.
Riddle me this, Batman.
That'd be cool if he'd be a rapping Riddler. That'd be awesome.
Favorite foreign language film? Ice Cube. Can't understand a word that guy says.
Don't worry, Trilbee. I got you. I speak black fluently. I understand.
What obscure Marvel character do you think should get a Netflix series? Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, a Star Wars story. Yeah, easily.
Yes.
Bill Paxton died. Any thoughts? Ice Cube.
Do you collect any movie merchandise? Asks Mark Dunville. Ice Cube trivia.
I just have all these Ice Cube trays just stacked everywhere. Every Ice Cube tray that's been in a movie, I've collected it.
It's an ice cube with the shape of the face of Ice Cube.
Why is that not a thing?
It's the Ice Cube tray that Ice Cube picked up in Friday, you know? Remember that bit where he drops an ice cube and then he picks it up?
I have an ice cube from a drink he drank on the set of a movie once.
Thank you so much for listening to the Movie Mania podcast, everybody.
Who should play the next Doctor? Ice Cube.
Yeah. Vin Diesel. Oh, no, Ice Cube, sorry. Sounds like you're crying, Trey.
Get Bandit number 3. Thou shalt cast Ice Cube in everything.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Thank you to our artist for this week. He
Ice
gave us
Cube.
Ice Cube, yes. Because we don't actually know the name of our artist this week, so we'll call you Ice Cube.
Give the
Thank
guy
you,
a
Ice
podcast
Cube.
credit. He's black. He's been through a lot. It's okay. I'm not racist. I like hidden figures.
Oh god.
Yes, thank you for that artwork, Ice Cube, and for giving Trilbee like a Leonidas-style beard. Sorry, an Ice Cube-style beard.
I've never had a beard that prominent, but thank you for the interpretation.
You look angry in
logo
that picture
got
too.
that.
You really do.
I do.
You look like a biker or something. You look like you're off.
I look
Sons of
like if the
Anarchy.
Christmas Detectives was actually training day. I look like
Oh god.
You look like
Anyway,
Morpheus,
folks,
Trey. You look
Yeah,
like
that's
Morpheus
what
from
I
the
watching.
Matrix.
You are watching. Oh god. You look like Morpheus. If you take
What?
the blue pill. Yes. Yes. You take the blue
so
pill.
Morpheus, where can they find you online?
There's an explosion in my eyes. I just realized that. You can find me online right here on the YouTube channel Podcast Media. Like and subscribe. Thank you. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Podcast Media. Join us next week, and I believe we're going to talk Logan next week. I would imagine so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Bandit, where can the lovely folks find you?
Yes, Bandit. Thank you,
YouTube,
Trilbee.
Facebook, and Twitter as Bandit Incorporated, and they can find you, Trilbee. Did you say? I can't
yes.
remember.
Yeah, you can find me at www.icecube.com, www.trilbee.com. You can listen to my own podcast, Film Brits Podcast, where
my pop culture again.
I'm going to elaborate more on who I think should play the next Doctor in the next episode of my podcast, which may be up in probably about the time you listen to this, who knows. And also, random note, because a lot of people keep asking on Facebook and sometimes in the YouTube comment section why we don't talk about Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or anything. On geekfeed.com, I currently write the reviews for every episode of Dragon Ball Super that comes out. So go to geekfeed.com if you want my thoughts on the new episodes of Dragon Ball. Just a random thing I thought I'd throw in there. So thank you very much. Yeah, because it's doing its English dub.
Okay, yeah, see you next week and catch you all later. Our Ice Cube maniacs. Oh my god.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find some Ice Cube rants and insert them throughout the podcast.
Yeah! Oh, can you do, the transitions between each segment of the podcast?
Yeah, I'll just have
Can you
Ice
replace
Cube.
them with Ice Cube bits?